Bibol, back when you were training at Legends, we asked you about possibly fighting some of the best guys in the division. Now you're not fighting someone who's very, old to the division, but what does it feel like to get that shot with Canelo Alvarez, knowing there were so many people wanting this fight?
I'm just glad, I'm excited that I got this fight. It means for me that I can show my skills for many people, for Canelos fans, for all of boxing fans.
What is it that you want to show boxing fans?
Что ты хочешь показать боксерским болельщикам?
I believe that if you want to win in the boxing, you have to train your skills, not your power, not your speed. It means your technical, yeah. And I want to show good technical.
Your technique. So, do you think people haven't seen your technique up to this point in your career?
People want to see knockouts, but I want to show them technique.
There is this narrative.
Of course, people watch. Конечно, люди уже видели все в боксе, если так взять, да, но здесь, когда боксирую против одного из лучших боксеров, я хочу показать именно технику.
People have seen a lot, people have seen everything in boxing overall, but specifically in this fight, a lot more fans are going to see this fight and watch this, and everybody in the world are going to see this.
Bivol, there's this narrative that Canelo struggles with guys who are more tactical. Are you ready to put that and prove that he will struggle with you?
I'm ready for everything on my 7 from Canelo.
Bivol, how do you feel about Canelo's power? He was able to hurt Kovalev, which you spoke about. You were at that fight. How do you feel about Canelo's power? Is it something that you got to be careful with, or how are you going to go about his power?
He has a power, of course. He has a lot of knockouts fight. But against Canelo, what I remember that Canelo was winning fight until around maybe 7 or 6 rounds. Then he was empty, and then Kovalev, yeah. Kovalev was empty and got a punch, and that what we will то, что было, мы видели.
That's the fight we saw there with Kovalev, but
Of course, Canelo has a power, but some guys like Daniel Jacobs fight with him all 12 rounds, and Callum Smith fights all 12 rounds.
Do you think Canelo can box with you for 12 rounds?
ты думаешь, он может боксировать до конца с тобой?
Of course, he can fight all 12 rounds, but we will see what will happen. Only God knows how this fight will happen.
Bivol, can you comment?
I just can say I believe in my skills, and of course Canelo believes in his skills. My friends believe in me. His friends believe in him.
Can you comment on the WBA? They're not sanctioning the fight because the crisis in Europe between Russia and the Ukraine. It looks like your belt's not going to be on the line. I think I just read that.
It's not true.
It's sanctioned?
Yes.
Okay.
All the fights that have already been announced and the fights that are happening are going to be sanctioned.
They're sanctioned?
But what is your opinion about not have your flag or the anthem or something like that?
Какие у тебя мнения по поводу того, что, может быть, ты не сможешь
иметь флаг? Конечно же, лично для меня, для человека, который вне политики, я никогда не высказывался про политику, потому что я занимаюсь только боксом, я не разбираюсь в этом. Я не люблю, когда люди высказывают свое мнение о том, в чем они не разбираются. Я не доктор, чтобы высказывать мнение про коронавирус. И флаг, конечно же, для каждого спортсмена флаг это важно, но для спортсменов важнее победа, именно участие, именно реализация получается так. То есть что делать? Раз люди так хотят, то я буду тогда боксировать. Сейчас я думаю,
a lot of people will say things and justify things on certain items that on certain things that they don't understand. I'm a boxer, I'm an athlete, and that's what's important. I understand that very well, and I can talk on that. As far as politics, I can't talk about COVID because I'm not a doctor. I'm not somebody who understands it. I can't talk about politics in the in the same understanding because I just don't have the knowledge to be able to talk about it. But overall, the situation with the flag, I mean, at the end of the day, my job here is to be an athlete, and it's about sportsmanship, it's about the competition, and about winning the fight. And I think that's what's important, and I think everybody would agree on that. And by that time, hopefully things are going to be in peace, and hopefully things are going to be changing by May, and I'll be able to walk into the fight just as I always did before.
But you're the one that got the fight. People are pressuring him to fight David Benavidez next. You sparred David Benavidez, you know him very well. I know you're fighting Canelo first, he has to get through you, but what do you think about a fight between Canelo and Benavidez stylistically? You sparred him.
I sparred Benavidez, yes, and he's a good fighter, yes, he has good skills, and he has enough to get this fight and win this fight. Why not?
What does he have? What do you think he has that could challenge aside from?
У него хорошая защита, у него хорошая дыхалка, у него комбинационная работа хорошая.
There's a lot of good combinations, a lot of good defense, good conditioning.
Without getting too political, how has that situation going on in Russia and Ukraine impacted your training?
Как-то ситуация с Украиной и Россией повлияла на твою подготовку?
Скажи то, что я был в Узбекистане в это время, когда все началось. Конечно же, я переживаю за эту ситуацию, потому что у меня много друзей из Украины. У нас человек в команде из Украины. Да? У меня много друзей вообще в Европе и в Америке. И я им желаю только всего самого лучшего и мира. И хочу скорее, чтобы все вернулось.
I was training, beginning of my training, I was in Uzbekistan in the mountains, and I was doing my conditioning training over there, and when all this started, and of course this affected me somewhat in some way because I have a lot of friends in the Ukraine, I have a lot of friends and relatives in Russia. I have, there's people that work on our team that are from the Ukraine, and the only thing I wish for is for everything to go back to normal and for everybody to be in peace. I mean, that's what's important, and I hope that happens in the near future.
What does he think about Lomachenko, Usyk, and the Klitschko brothers? They decided to stay home and defend their country. Does he want to comment on that?
Ты можешь дать какие-то комментарии по поводу того, что Кличко, Ломаченко, Усик остались дома и защищают свою страну?
Я никак не могу прокомментировать эту ситуацию негативно или позитивно, но потому что это их выбор, это их дом, и каждый человек вправе выбирать то, что он считает нужным. Я к ним всегда относился и отношусь с большим уважением как к боксерам и спортсменам. Считаю одних из самых лучших и всегда поддерживаю их в боях. Хочу, чтобы они выиграли.
Of course, again, it's hard to comment on something that's related to people defending their home country and all of that. I mean, as athletes, I respect them a lot. They're some of the best in the world, and as people, I respect them a lot. But their choices and what they do, it's very individual. I make my own choices. They make their own choices, and they have to do what they have to do.
Being that, like you said, you're just the athlete, and I'm sorry to even have to ask you about this, Dimitri, but when the WBA is talking about not allowing the Russian flag to be, brought to the ring, and do you think that's wrong? Because, like you said, you're just an athlete, just fighting.
They just they want peace. They want peace, and that's what's important to them, and it justifies what they're doing for them. So everybody's just trying to bring everybody to peace.
And since Gennady Golovkin, no one's really tried to step to Canelo and engage a kind of toe-to-toe way. Saunders and Plant, they tried to box him. Do you feel like you're the first guy in a while that's going to step to Canelo and exchange with him in the center of the ring?
Никто из Канела еще не встречался как бы лицо к лицу и не обменивался с ним. Ты думаешь, ты можешь быть одним из первых?
Вполне могу, потому что у меня достаточно силы тоже и умений. Может быть все что угодно, я готов буду ко всему. Я буду стараться тренироваться и готов ко всему. Будет такая ситуация, будем действовать так. Очень часто мы же думаем, строим планы, а выходим в ринг, и все планы вдруг рушатся и появляются новые.
All I can say is I'll be ready for anything, and I have enough strength and I have enough physical ability to step up to him if I have to. It's just hard to predict because a lot of times we will do a lot of planning, but the fight will go as it will go. And I'll make sure that I'm ready for whatever the fight will bring, and if I have to step up and exchange, that's what will happen.
Is there anything he can learn and add to the game plan from the two Golovkin fights? And is that ever the case? You go back and watch other fights of your opponent to learn from.
Что-то ты можешь взять из двух боев с Головкиным, что ты мог бы взять для своего боя?
Прямо
вообще, что ты берешь от других боев?
Вообще, когда я смотрю другие бои, я смотрю на плюсы и минусы лично боксера, с которым я буду драться. Я просто смотрю, что можно сделать против него, что я смогу лично сделать. Не то, что Геннадий сделал, а именно я. И чего мне стоит избегать. И все.
When I watch my opponent's fights, and just like right now with Canelo, I'm watching to see what are his negative and positive sides, and I see what I personally can use in my favor and what advantages he has with me. So it's hard to kind of compare that with Gennady because Gennady is a different person, a different boxer, but I do take from every fight and see what I can take advantage of.
What are your best
Last
attributes?
question.
What are your best attributes in this fight? What's going to give Canelo a hell of a fight on May 7th?
Какие твои лучшие позитивные стороны, атрибуты, которые создадут проблемы для Канело 7 мая?
Я подвижный, у меня достаточно хорошая сила удара, у меня есть скорость, у меня есть все качества на определенном хорошем уровне. Я в них верю.
I take advantage of my good movement. I have enough strength, and I have good technique qualities that I can take advantage, and I believe in myself. That's what's important.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dimitri.